over. This is what Heather Till was engaged in, group stalking. While the light source is over me right here, you're gonna look at the time is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 hours from now, the light source is still over me while that same stalking in a helicopter is over with, flying over my head. And doing so while they're listening to me expose them. I'm watching another video as I speak to what is the reality of the federal prosecution of speaker companies, the people of the state, everybody working for speaker companies, everybody living at speaker companies' property right here is going to federal prison. They're doing so in their, not only their demon possession, but their criminal activity in concert with the government that uses helicopters to engaging in that stalking and surveillance system. And that is readily identifiable. May 30th, 2024. The light source is right here over the trees. What I documented yesterday at what is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the light source at 1:54 p.m. I capture in still images as I'm standing at my front door at 1:30, approximately 1:33 in the afternoon. The light source is directly over my head at my front door. I was at that front door this morning at 10:54 in the morning. I'm still on the same property. Okay, so you were looking at surveillance, which is group stalking in the path, doing so commercially, if you will. Speaker company's employee, that's a third party, Maria Solis Alvarez, is what she was doing while LAPD was flying over my office. Also, why I point out criminal conduct and the ways in which that entity is going to be prosecuted. Again, the demons that are listening to that documentation engage in ongoing provision of evidence. And then what the entity is doing is now mischaracterizing what is the documentation that is under no circumstances filled with gibberish, under no circumstances and anything that is unintelligent or that which is incapable of being comprehended. And by the way, this is documentation that's going to the federal government. So nonetheless, but the entity is seeking to mischaracterize an attorney who is legally analyzing criminal conduct of a demonic nature by a corrupt government. And this third party that works for human resources, a demon also, is seeking to mischaracterize, which is seeking to criminally defame with that government that's providing evidence not only of the demon possession. The sun is not going to be over the same apartment building. I'm standing in front of building 1810 at 4:12 p.m. while Heather Till's audible activity on the phone is ongoing. This light source is still here, and LAPD is also still here stalking in helicopters while they're listening to me reference what is free speech. Okay, and they're doing so while I am in my office recording. Listening to, let me be clear, they're monitoring, period. I'm also pointing out what the entity is engaging in. They're engaged in ongoing invasion of privacy, what the entity is listening to, what I'm doing as they further engage in that criminal conduct. That's why I'm pointing this out. And it's occurring in the specific environment. The sun is not rising at the same address and still here after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 1:04 p.m. The sun is not going to be present over me at my front door while I am showing you what is also the pattern of stalking in helicopters while I'm at my front door, which is at 1:30, 1:54 p.m., where I'm still remaining at, which my front door is down the sidewalk. The entity keeps a light source over my head in the zenith, which is meaning it's exclusive and it's disregarding the fact that the sun could ever be over the Upland Public Library at 10:46 in the morning, which is what I'm pointing out when it's over my head at 10:46 in the morning. Okay, remember when I'm documenting the entity group stalking, flying in a helicopter, and Maria Solis Alvarez is doing the same thing. She's assembled in relevant position. The entity is at a great distance, flying in a circle. Very demonic, in the demonic environment. That's how you're recognizing it. Okay, and doing so, and I'm hearing helicopter activity inside of my office, amplification. The same amplification while the demons are flying in close proximity, crossing path with real-time knowledge of what I'm revealing on my phone, which is serving for their prosecution and understanding the ways in which everything that they say and do as an entity is going to be used against them. All right, and as I continuously capture these videos, the entity is providing ongoing evidence. The sun not only would not be present at this same location, let me be clear, the same property at 10:46 in the morning, 11:12:1, that's non-movement and stationary presence over my head at the same property, not the natural environment. In the unnatural environment, the state is first identified as stalking, notably doing so in helicopters in California. That's how these demons like to do it. Then in addition to that, the people of the state are in that same environment, maintaining presence and activity in concert with that entity, and it's all demonic. And recognizing that unnatural environment is recognizing the demonic environment, and then it precipitates down, you're recognizing the demonic behavior centered on the target individual subject to group stalking, and it's occurring in the workplace. That's P.O.C. The entity is doing so while it is reviewing, as I'm reviewing, the evidence about everything that came out of Heather Till's mouth, everything that she put in an email, which is all public information by, again, the same LAPD that knows about the emails being composed, knows about every phone call being made. They're sitting there listening and watching and observing, engaging in surveillance, which is criminal, and using helicopters to provide evidence against their ongoing criminal presence. It is criminal in that unnatural environment. That's why that scientific impossibility exists. It's supposed to be malicious. It's supposed to exist in plain sight. You never question it. You never notice it. It is very hard to not notice the engineered light that's on my ceiling in my bedrooms every day. that's appearing and disappearing while you're seeing those same demons necessarily in that demonic environment, stalking in helicopters while that engineer light on my ceiling in my bedroom appears and disappears, cannot make that up. And then you have the demons that are engaging in acts of obstruction of justice, like Heather Till is documented as engaging in an email, which I respond to the entity via email, and I'm going to prosecute with that, while the entity is still engaging in that state terrorism, which is documented again in evidence and video. It's 1:06 p.m. in the specific environment. This is P.O.C.